You know, this principle of magnetism is very pervasive. It practically affects all areas of our lives. It affects our finances, it affects our family life, it affects our relationships, it affects our careers, it affects our businesses, it affects our health, affects practically all areas of our lives. This principle of magnetism affects the lives of individuals, it affects organizations, it affects even whole nations. So it's important for you and I to explore how a magnet works. In the first place, you need to realize that whoever and whatever you have in your life right now, you attracted them through the principle of magnetism. And I think it works the other way too, that most of the things that you have not attracted, most of the people that are not in your life right now, it's because you either did not attract them or you repelled them. You are a living magnet. I am a living magnet. Yes, you may not have control over the family into which you were born, but as you become an adult, your relationships are a product of your choices. So ultimately, you are the one who attracts. You are the one who repels. Let me ask a question. If a magnet cannot attract an object, what do you do? To make it possible for the magnet to attract the object, do you fiddle with the object? If that is your strategy, the only thing you can do to the object is to reduce its size. And that is the approach that many people have to life. When they cannot attract anything, they reduce the sizes of their visions. They reduce their dreams, they reduce their goals, they reduce their aspirations. When they see that they cannot achieve something in business, they can't achieve something in life, they reduce the sizes of their dreams. Many people reduce the sizes of their plans, especially with respect to finances, just because they've tried a little bit and they found out they couldn't achieve a particular goal. But let's look at it. I would rather put more power in the magnet. When you make the magnet more powerful, it will have the capacity to attract today what it could not attract yesterday. Now that's exactly what we do in Success Power. We put more power in your magnet. The things that we share here on Success Power, when you apply them through your life, you discover that you have the capacity over weeks, over months, to attract people, to attract opportunities, to attract resources that you have not been able to attract before. Please stay with me, because I want us to explore how to put more power in your magnet. To put more power in your magnet, let's look again at the magnet. The magnet has certain properties in it that have the capacity to attract. So the question for me is, what are the properties in you and in me that give us the capacity to attract? They're your thoughts and your feelings. This is very important. Your thoughts and your feelings. Your thoughts make you a magnet. Your feelings make you a magnet. See, you will always attract to yourself the material equivalent of your most dominant thoughts. Your thoughts and your emotions combined create what you call a magnetic field around your life. Every magnet has what you call a magnetic field. When it throws out energy, that attractive energy, that power of attraction, it goes only so far. And it's in a radius, which we call a magnetic field. Around your life right now, there's a magnetic field. There are people, there are objects, there are circumstances, there are opportunities within the range of that magnetic field. Now the big question is, do you have the power to pull them in? Your thoughts make you a magnet. Remember also that when a magnet radiates energy, it has the capacity to attract, it also has the capacity to repel. Your thoughts and your emotions determine to a large extent who and what you have the capacity to attract and who and what you have the capacity to repel. Now, this is very important. I'm suggesting, therefore, that you can change what you have the capacity to attract just by changing your thoughts. Your thoughts are very, very powerful. When you change your thoughts, you dramatically change your capacity to attract people and to attract resources. I know that sometimes this sounds vague and sounds too simplistic to people. Why? Because thoughts are not tangible. You can hold them, you can feel them, you can handle them. Therefore, some people don't value them, but they are very powerful. One of the basic laws that we teach here on Success Power is what we call first within and then without. First within and then without. And this is the point, that everything, every measure of success, every shift that will happen in your life has to happen inside you first, in your heart and in your mind. Many worry about what they don't have. Many people worry about what they don't have. They worry about the amount of money they don't have. They worry about the connections that they don't have. They worry about the opportunities that they don't have. The solution is very, very simple. The place to get them first is inside, before you get them on the outside. You see, there's no point in a magnet worrying about what it does not have the power to attract. What should the magnet do? Put more power in itself. Develop the capacity. So this is the big issue. Those relationships that you wish you had but which you don't have. What can you do to develop the capacity to have them? Those opportunities that you wish you had. What can you do to develop the capacity to attract them? Change your thinking. It's remarkable how people allow in themselves the thoughts of poverty, but they want to attract prosperity or wealth. You see, when we walk that way, we're walking against the law. You can't have in your mind the thoughts of sickness and ill health and want to attract sound health. You can have in your mind difficulty and impossibility dominating your mind. I mean, just because you mentioned a particular amount of money, your mind goes into lockdown. And then you tell yourself it's not possible. This is going to be really, really difficult. Now, once those are the dominant thoughts and emotions that you have, you cannot attract what you want. Rather, in fact, you're going to be able to repel that thing. I remember one statement that's been credited to a former French Prime Minister. It says, make big plans. Don't make small plans. Big plans attract big people, but small plans attract small people, and small people cause big problems. The key word there is they attract. In other words, once you know someone, once you find someone who thinks big, invariably it's just a matter of time. The person will attract big people, the person will attract big things. When you have someone who thinks small, someone who thinks he or she is inconsequential, someone who thinks he or she is powerless, someone who thinks he or she is a victim, you just find out over time it works exactly like that. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever been in a situation where you were thinking about someone and the next moment the phone was ringing and it was the person who was calling you? That's the law of magnetism working. The thing about thoughts is they are very powerful. Like ultraviolet rays, they have the capacity to break through objects. It's like your TV or your radio. the wavelengths or the waves that come in, the frequencies that come into your TV or radio, they go through walls. That's how the thoughts from our hearts and minds work. In that instant, while you were thinking about that person, you were radiating. Something was going out of you. And that happened to me just yesterday. And I was wondering, wow, I was only thinking, let me send an SMS message, a text message to this person on BlackBerry. And then within a few minutes, I saw a message from the person. I didn't send mine. I didn't have the time, to type. So I just glossed over it. And then within a few minutes, I got a message from the person. It works that way. Thoughts are very, very powerful. The thoughts that are most dominant in your heart and mind are sending out radiation, sending out energy on your behalf. They determine what you attract. They determine what you repel. Watch out when you see teenagers hanging out together. Listen to the words of their mouths because they reflect the thoughts of their hearts and minds. Check them out 10 or 15 years later, except if something dramatically happens somewhere along the way to change what someone has been thinking or saying, their lives end up exactly the way they've been describing. So remember, you and I are magnets, living magnets that have the capacity to move around town. But the thing that gives us the magnetism is our thinking. You change your thoughts, you can dramatically change what you have the capacity to attract. Opportunities come exactly like that also. Opportunities come exactly like that. What you are thinking about is what you attract. Okay? I know some people who, even while maybe they are supervisors, are reading books for CEOs. What are they saying? I began to read books written by some of the best people in the world in my fields, in my lines of career. And it's interesting how the opportunities began to come for me. But the first thing that happened was that my thinking changed. I upgraded my thinking to their level. I would buy books from some of the most powerful or best known motivational speakers around the world. I remember the day I was leafing through a magazine and I saw the picture of a motivational speaker in the United States and his wife. And I loved it. I was just starting out. I remember. I was just starting out as a motivational speaker. And this picture was taken at their seminar. The man was standing with his wife, and behind them was the picture of the crowd in a Coliseum. The Coliseum sat 14,000 people, and it was packed out. You know what I did? I tore that page off, that magazine, and stuck it on the wall near my table in my bedroom. I was looking at it every day. Very interesting, because I was seeing myself exactly like that. And then some years later, it was less than 10 years later, I stood on the stage, of the indoor sports hall of a stadium that was packed out. And we had overflow outside, and there were more people in the overflow than we had in the hall itself. And I remembered that picture on the wall. Your thoughts make you a magnet. You will ultimately attract the material equivalent of your most dominant thoughts.